This morning I woke up to a pretty good piece of news. I checked my phone and I had a notification saying, "Congratulations, you've made your first sale on Amazon." Now, as the message might indicate, this has been my first Amazon sale ever. And whilst I've been trying to list on Amazon for around about a year, the first time I tried it I found it incredibly difficult and ended up giving up on it because it was just quite expensive. I'll get into that in a second, and it just took a lot of time, especially when I had my eBay at the same time. But now I've had a mindset shift and I decided, yeah, we've still got eBay, now we've got YouTube that's making money, but at the same time, why not make as much money as possible? So I've started listing on Amazon. And it's funny because out of the 2 months that I've been trying it again, if I'm really honest, I only took like 3-4 days in that entire time to list properly. Most of those have been in the past week. I've been very distracted and busy. But I listed a couple of items and I woke up to a sale. So I'm going to tell you what my thoughts are, how this happened, and what the latest is with my businesses as a whole. So we'll first explain a little bit about the Amazon sale, because this is obviously the story. And the sale was for £27.50 or something like that. Now, what I didn't know at the time is that Amazon has a pretty hefty fee with it, which I found disappointing, because with Amazon you have two options. Number one is that you can choose to pay for a monthly subscription, which is intended to cover all of your fees, or at least so I believed. And option two is you can pay like, I think it's like £1 per sale or something like that. So I was on the monthly subscription plan, which really I didn't want to be on, and I'm now going to change that because now I know there's other fees associated anyway. It makes no sense. So technically I am still £60 down with Amazon because I had 2 months of subscription, and we'll get to the profit margins on my sale in a minute. Now, like I say, I was shocked by this, and I didn't even necessarily know it was the case. I teach a lot of people how to sell on eBay. I've got a Patreon course if you want to join it, link is in my bio, because I've been selling on eBay now for what? Nearly 2 years it must be. Amazon, though, is obviously a new market to me. I've never sold on Amazon before, and a channel like this, it's not me coming in video one saying that I'm the expert, right? Even if you go back to my very first video on my YouTube channel, this YouTube channel, you'll see the evolution between my eBay content and how it's come along, because I learnt more. And the same's true here with Amazon. So, arguably I made a few mistakes, and I'm going to explain what they are in a second. But the point is, whilst it may not be the best sale, whilst it may not be all too profitable, this is a big step. Because as you guys who've joined my eBay course know, or as you guys who run businesses or try and make money in any kind of way, you know, it's one thing to do the work, it's another thing to feel the reward. And the same is true for me, in the sense that eBay, I'm smashing it. If I'm honest, I am. My revenue for this month is like 8 grand, maybe 9. I think it is actually going to be closer to 9. YouTube, to be fair, now I'm hitting nearly £200 in revenue for this month. That's because of a couple of exceptional videos, but we're starting to get a bit of a hang of what content works and what content doesn't. And whilst all of that's great, we need as many income streams as possible. People say that online businesses aren't a sustainable way of making money into your 30s, 40s and 50s because trends dry up. I agree, but this is where people get it wrong. You don't need to be running a career if you're running a business. All I need from my businesses is realistically £50,000 to £100,000. That's enough investment capital to get onto bigger projects. So I need as much income as possible in the period whilst it's working. Anyway, profitability of the Amazon sale. I didn't really account for the fees because I wasn't aware of it. I will take this into factor, and maybe one day I'll launch a page where I teach about selling on Amazon. But at the minute I am just learning it myself. So that came as a bit of a shock. I'm still going to crunch the numbers. I think we may just be profitable on the sale, but obviously on the Amazon account as a whole, we are net negative, of course, because we've made revenue of just under £30, and our outgoing expenses are £60. So we're going to change our plan over to the pay per item versus a pay per month, because at the numbers that we're doing right now, even if I was making one sale a day, I reckon it still makes more sense to be on the pay per item plan. Also, just like eBay, that reduces a lot of the stress, because it doesn't mean that you need to pay money up front for sales that you may or may not make. Obviously, when you get to a point where you're doing tens, if not hundreds of units on Amazon, yeah. If you're not doing that, I don't think it makes much sense. Anyway, so that's the latest. Yeah, it's not really a big development, but at the same time it is. Like, if you're here for impressive figures, no, it's less than £30 of revenue and a net loss on the entire Amazon selling account so far. With that being said, that is a big milestone, because It's another income stream that's working. And I said this in a video that I published 2 days ago. I don't know how popular that video is going to be because it's more of a rant and me explaining my story in life, a bit like this one is, to be fair. And it's a 38-minute long video where I spoke about the fact that in the last 2 to 3 months, my mindset shifted. And the same still goes in. That's why I'm making so many YouTube videos now. It's why I'm trying to build as many businesses as I can, because why not try and do greatness? And again, Amazon selling is now another thing that I can say I am making money on. And I know some people might say, well, you made a loss, but these are often people who don't run businesses. They don't have any idea how difficult it is to get any money coming in from online, in any source. It's a lot harder than people like to make out sometimes. Anyway, I wanted to also give you guys an update on my other businesses, and I briefly touched upon eBay a minute ago. eBay sales this month are great. This week I've run into a couple of problems, and this is just me being honest, right? This channel is me explaining my stories and holding myself accountable. I know a lot of people, especially people who might sell a Patreon page like I do, or a dropshipping course or anything like that, would like to tell you only the positives. I want to tell you a true story and all of my failures as well. So this week on eBay, I feel like I've messed up a little bit. I had 2 sales of a very, very profitable item. The item is one that I sell for around about £600, and my purchase costs traditionally are around about £350 to £400. And it turns out the 2 suppliers, I went out of my way to make sure this was going to be an extra easy to source item. 2 suppliers, none in stock. An AliExpress supplier and an Amazon supplier. None in stock. So that is a little bit difficult for me, and it is actually causing a couple of headaches. I'd like to still make the sales, but the only items that I can find of the same item are like £600, which would mean that I'm either breaking neutral or on borderline making a loss even, which I'm not going to do, because I'd be risking, £550, £600 of capital to make back nothing. I'm not going to do that. So I may have to cancel those orders, and cancelling orders is something that I don't like doing at all. Number one, because it means that we're missing out on sales, especially at this much revenue and potential profit that it could have been, and also we have the potential to get negative feedback, angry customers, and it's just not nice. It's not a nice thing to do, and that's been a little bit of stress for me in the past week. And to be honest, it's been one of the more stressful things. Now, besides that, we've got the same usual things. We've got a lot of customers coming in for all sorts of items on eBay. It's coming to Christmas time. People want to know where the items are, if they're being delivered or not. Obviously, they are. We just update tracking and people know. But eBay, for the most part, is being pretty easy. Everything's going super well, apart from the fact that, like I say, we are potentially going to have to cancel those round about £1,100–1,200 worth of orders, which is possibly quite disappointing, both from a revenue perspective and a customer relations perspective, but we can't sell items at neutral, no profit, especially when they are at hundreds of pounds. We're risking too much cash to make the risk worth it. We had one customer come back this week, and it's really annoyed me, who's returned a perfectly functional item, claiming even that there was nothing wrong with it, but then said, oh, we found it at a better price. Now, obviously, you can't really argue with that. But this is another item that's £170, and all of my items that I'm selling now are becoming these higher price, higher value items. Now, of course, the actual proportionate revenue that you make makes it worth it, even when you have expensive returns and refunds and cancellations, because think about it, if all of the items that I sell are between £50 and £1,000, I know it's a big room, but profit for every single item kind of makes it all worth it, and it works out eventually, and it actually becomes more profitable and makes more revenue. But yeah, he cancelled it, saying we found it at a better price, sent it back. Fine, you can do that, I can't really complain, but at the same time, pretty annoying, right? Pretty annoying. I couldn't offer it to him for any lower. We were making like very, very slim margins on it anyway. I just thought, well, I'd rather have like £50 than not. But it's just annoying. What else? Yeah, I can't really complain about anything else with eBay. It's just obviously scale. We're getting to a good scale now. It is a good scale because revenue, profit, we're happy. YouTube has been an interesting development this month. as you guys will know, the channel is picking up a lot. This month we're seeing around about, I think, 500 subscribers. 500 subscribers, which is pretty impressive. Most of those have come from my recent popular video that's got at the time of filming, 25,000 views, where I spoke about, I can't remember what I even spoke about in that video. Something to do with work in the UK. I'm sorry, I've got a lot of stuff going on in my head with all of these different business ideas, because to be honest, that's what they all are. Anyway, the video's brought in about 300 subscribers on its own. It's also directed a lot more people to all of my other content, and I said this from the start of my YouTube channel, not necessarily on the channel, but I am saying it to you guys now. The biggest challenge from a motivation standpoint with a channel on YouTube, and the reason why I think most people quit, is because of the length of time it takes to see results. Now, it's one of those things where once it gets going pretty okay. And what I mean by that is, when I started filming videos, I remember it distinctly. I think my first video in the first week got like 4 views, and that was okay. That was pretty okay. After a month, a good video might get 10. If you made a popular video. After 2 months, a good video might get 50. After 3-4 months, a good video might get 100. After 4-5 months, a good video might get a couple hundred. Then I went away for a bit, and then come back to where we are now. A good video is like at least 5,000. Like, I've got so many videos now over the 1K mark, over the 2K mark. 5,000 is where things even start to become potentially impressive. And I know that sounds like a small milestone, because I've had bigger YouTube channels than that myself. I've had channels in my own past where you might have 500,000 people watching a month. At the same time though, this is a very different experience, and I want to just make this known to you guys if you're watching a video like this. All of the channels that I've made in the past have been about more objective topics. They've been more, they've been faceless YouTube channels. A channel like this opens you up to a lot of love and a lot of hate. To be honest, I don't really get that many mean comments. If I'm really honest, I have not had that many mean comments. You do get the odd arrogant comment. You do get the odd racist comment, which is, I think, quite rude. And arguably quite unfair, because I don't really talk about subjects along race matters. That's not what I talk about. I talk about money, finance, and to a degree the economy, and business, and life, and self-improvement. So to bring up things like that, I find quite rude. But to be honest, this is like maybe 1 in 1,000 comments. I think it's just human psychology though, and we all have to be honest with it. Sometimes the rude comments stick with you more than the nice ones. But the real nice thing that I have seen is, number one, there are people who genuinely watch this channel, and there's people who are interested in hearing what I have to say, and I've got a lot of love for you guys for that. I find it incredible because, like I say, this is not an objective channel, it's very subjective. Like this video, for example, I'm not sharing anything about the economy or the world or news or gaming. I'm just telling you guys a little bit of a story about my life. And even then, we might get, 50 or 100, maybe even 1,000 people who watch it. That's crazy, just for telling a story about my life. And I'm some nobody, right? You guys don't know who I am. So that's really impressive. And obviously, the more broad content that I make, we're getting some good views on that now. I feel like you kind of find your stride with it. And like I say, going back to the point that I made about this being a mission that just picks up, at the point that we're at now, we're finally getting good amounts of subscribers, good amounts of views, and it's like you get people who say nice things, you get people who actually watch. It feels like making content's actually worth it. And yeah, I have been making a little bit of money from this channel, I won't lie. So this month, I so far have made £160. That's just complete transparency. I'm telling you guys that, no trouble at all. And the biggest, or roundabout equal to that, is the amount of people who I'm able to convert to my Patreon page. So obviously, it's not necessarily a sales funnel directly, but I make videos on reselling and business sometimes. People ask, how do you get into this? How do you start reselling? And I just tell them on my Patreon page. I share everything that I know about eBay selling. I can even offer you guys one-to-one calls and help you to build your business. So people are interested in that, very apparently. People come over. Not everybody stays for like a year. Some people buy it, stay for a week, stay for a month. It depends on whether they like it or not, whether they feel like they're getting good value. I try to provide good value, but obviously that's subjective. I just share with you guys what I know. Anyway, that makes round about equal. So content creation now makes me about $250 a month, maybe $3, and that sounds small, and it is. It's not really going to cover the bills, but we're now at 3 income streams that are semi-decent. I know people talk about making money online and they make like £2-3 from doing these surveys, but from where I'm sat right now, I'm making a full-time income on eBay. I've just had a sale on Amazon. I've got people watching my content, which is getting me more money. I've got people coming over to my Patreon page to learn about what I'm doing, which is getting me even more money. So technically, you could even say 4 income streams. And this is where I get a little bit excited, because I'm early days in all of this, right? Again, eBay may be my most established business at the minute. Full transparency. That's the one that makes me a full-time income. It's something that I understand. Unlike Amazon, which is a bit shaky for me at the minute, I can just go on eBay, I know what I'm doing. And the prospect of having 2 full-time incomes, eBay and Amazon, the prospect of having 2 full-time incomes, eBay and YouTube, the prospect of having 3 full-time incomes from the 3 income streams that I just mentioned, or maybe even 4 or 5, I'm excited. Because this is where people don't really understand my sort of content. And what I mean is, I'm 21 years old. People say that I need to get a full-time job. I make more than a graduate does, sat in this room. That's just the truth of it. I work for myself when I want, where I want. Maybe that's not a long-term sustainable path. Probably it's not. But I can't say I'm not excited by what I'm seeing. And I know some people are going to say, still, even if you think you're doing well, get a real job, don't try. We're going to talk about that in a different video, but from where I'm sat right now, it's a very, very exciting time. I know I'm not coming across very excited because these videos, I'm just calm, right? I'm trying to share my authentic life here. Sometimes I'm out on the bike and we're in the woods. I'm excited because I'm on a bike ride. I'm having fun. Some days I'm sat at home chilling, and that's today. So I'm just sharing a bit of my story with you guys, letting you know where we're at this week, and letting you know the latest with my Amazon sales, with my eBay revenue, and also with my YouTube. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for sharing 20 minutes with me almost. I appreciate it. And I hope I'll see you soon. Do drop me a comment if you enjoyed this video and if you watched all the way until the end. I'll see you again. Goodbye.